Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to work with Microsoft Azure Backup. Azure Backup is a Azure based service. You can backup and restore data into Microsoft Cloud. So let's get started. So I'm gonna select a VM that I want to take a backup of. So this virtual machine web serve 01, and I'm gonna go down to backup. So there is a backup option. Now whenever you take a backup, service recovery vault is necessary. So we can create a recovery services vault before taking a backup, or if it is the first time you're taking a backup, a recovery services vault will be created for us. So in this case, a vault will be created. It will be used in my existing resource group. Now whenever you take a backup, and a policy is created. Now a policy is how much backup do you want to take, what would be the retention rate, how many times it should be taken, and what would be the schedule for the backup. So for now I'll be using a default policy, and we can create more policies for different type of VMs later on. So here all you need to do, enable backup. So I enabled backup on this VM for now. So it is going to do two things. It will create a service recovery vault will be created for us, and this VM will be part of the backup. For now the backup is not being taken. For now a recovery services vault is being created, and this VM will be made part of the backup. So once this process is completed, I will continue with the video. So it took around 5 to 10 minutes for the uh, recovery services vault deployment completed. Now what we need to do, we can go back to home, and we can find recovery services vault. So I'm going to refresh this, and here is the recovery services vault. So for now it is showing one backup item selected as part of the recovery services vault. We can add any type of backup right from here. We can click backup and then start selecting VMs from here, but since we initiated the backup right from the VM, so we can go to the backup items. So I am going to the backup item here, and within the backup item I don't have any Azure backup agents. Can be installed on different servers. There is a Azure backup server. Azure backup server is just like a DPM. It's just like a DPM, but Azure backup server can only take backups of Windows VM. Actually it can take backup of everything. So Azure backup server, you cannot take backups on a tape drive, whereas with DPM, data protection manager, that comes in Microsoft Azure, you can take all types of backups, and also you can take backup on a tape drive as well. So for now I'm going to go into the VM, and this is the VM that we added. We can click on the VM, and we can see that this is this is a backup configuration for this VM. We can take backup right now. We can take restore VM from here. We can also do a file recovery as well. We can stop a backup as well. So the very first time when you set up a backup, what we do is we take a full backup. So I'm going to take a full backup now, and it will be for today's date. So it is triggering full backup. It will take some time for the backup to complete. Once the backup is completed, then we can also try restoring from the backup. So I'm going to pause the video here, and once the backup is completed, then we can test the restore. So while the backup is being triggered, just one more thing I wanted to show, that if you can go on to triggering backup for this VM, we can see that there is a backup job in progress. So once this will be completed, we will be able to see the backup. And at the same time, if I go to recovery services vault, and if I go here on the side, in progress, so I just wanted to see the progress. So there is one in progress. If it fails, we can see that it can be if it, in case of anything, if it fails, then we will be able to see the reason. So here, if I go to in progress, we can see that there is one backup being in progress. Another thing, so there is a backup storage. So cloud LRS is locally redundant storage, whereas GRS is geo redundant storage. In Microsoft Azure, what happens is that for each storage or each backup, there will be 3 copies in the same region in probably different data centers. So this is the cheapest storage, but recommended storage from Microsoft is, if you want to secure your data more, you can also select an option for GRS, with a geo redundant storage, in which one or two of the copies of the data can be in different regions. So geo redundant, so far miles away from your local your city, in another region, just to for the high availability purposes. So the backup is still in progress, so I'm gonna pause the video. Once this is completed, then I'm gonna come back. So it took around 40 minutes. So let me check the backup. So we can go into recovery services vault, and we can go down to check backup jobs. When you check the backup job, it will let you know that the backup was completed, took around 40 minutes here. So the backup is completed. What we can do now, we can try and restore the same machine. In order to restore, we can go back to backups. Actually, we need to go back to the VM. So actually we can restore right from the VM or from the vault. So we can go into the backup items and then the virtual machine, and we can select the virtual machine. From the virtual machine, we can say restore VM, and when you restore VM, you can select from a restore point. For now, we have only one, which is this one, and we can click OK. And now what do you want to do? You can create a new VM, or you can restore a disk. So in our case, we're going to create a new VM, and I'm going to say that this is web serve restored VM, and we're going to use the same resource group, and virtual network will be the same, so nothing to change anything here, and click OK. I need to select staging. So staging is the standard locally redundant storage. So this is a locally redundant storage. Since we never selected geo redundant storage, I'm going to click OK and restore. So triggering restore for the web server. So what it will do, it will create a new VM, and it will be a restore of web SRV. So let me go to the restore job. It is in progress, so I'm gonna pause the screen here. Once it is completed, I'm gonna continue the video. Okay, restore job got finished and it took around 25 minutes. The status is completed. Just to make sure that another VM is created based on this restore job, we can go to virtual machines, and we can see that the VM was restored successfully and it is running as a new VM. So this is how we can use Microsoft Azure backup and restore service. Thank you for watching this video. I will see you in another video.